Well, hello and welcome. Today I have unearthed some scary stories that are sure to get your bones shaking, each one scarier than the last. So, lock your doors, sit back, and enjoy the Lincoln Night Halloween special. So welcome to the Halloween special, everyone. Thank you for stopping by. As per tradition on my channel, we are spreading some Halloween joy riding in the Spidey suit. If you remember last year, I rode around Lincoln to a bunch of different haunted places and I told you the stories of each of them. I figured this year we're actually going to tell you some scary stories. So I found 3 of them that I really like. And also in the description, I am going to leave the link to one that I did want to include, but it was like way too long for me to actually try and memorize it. So I will leave you the link to that in the description if you want to read that for yourselves. So, cue the scary filter and sounds. Our first story is of 2 college girls, Meg and Samantha, that shared a dorm room. One night they were going to meet with some of their friends at a bar just down the street from their college campus. So Meg and Samantha were walking to the bar, and they got about 2 blocks away, and Meg realized that she had forgotten her purse. So she told Samantha, "Go up on ahead and meet our friends at the bar. I'll catch up with you guys. I just need to go back home and get my purse." So she quick hurries back to their dorm room. So she runs inside of the dorm room, doesn't even bother turning on the lights, just runs in, grabs her purse, and quickly heads back out and meets up with their friends. Later on in the night, Samantha was starting to get kind of tired, so she told her friends, "Hey guys, I'm getting kind of tired. I think I'm going to pack it in for the night. You guys can still hang out and have fun, but I'm going to go home. I'm going to go to bed." So Samantha goes home and does just that. Later on in the night, Meg and the rest of the friends decide to go their separate ways, so Meg goes back to the dorm room. When she gets there, she notices that there are police cars all over the place outside. She goes up to one of the police officers and says, "Hey, like, what's going on? Why are you guys here? What happened?" And the police officer says, "Well, there's been a murder that we're investigating." Meg says, "Oh my God, can I please go inside? I need to check on my roommate, make sure that she's okay and that nothing happened to her." The officer says, "I'm sorry, but I can't let you inside. We're investigating." So after Meg begs for a little while, the police officer finally decides to let her go inside. She goes into her room to find Samantha laying on the floor with a white sheet draped over her and blood stains everywhere. Meg looks over to the mirror on the wall and in big red words, they spell out, "I bet you're glad you didn't turn on the lights." Our next story is of a man who is on his way home from work late one night. He had worked a longer shift, so it was really dark out when he was on his way home. Well, one of the roads that he takes home is an old gravel road that curves down into a tunnel that goes underneath a railroad. Now, he's driven this road thousands and thousands of times over the years, and he knows that it's kind of a dangerous road, especially at night, and that there's been a lot of accidents over the years at this little tunnel. Well, since it's kind of late, it's pretty foggy out. And he gets down to this tunnel and he could barely see anything. There's just so much fog, so he thinks, okay, well, I should probably take this a little slower than normal. So he's creeping his way through this tunnel in his car, and he notices a figure at the end of the tunnel that's like waving its arms. So he approaches it and he notices that it's a young woman and she's signaling for help. So he stops his car in front of the woman, gets out of his car and says, "Hey, what's going on?" And she says, "I'm sorry, but I need a ride home. I live up in the Highlands. Can you please give me a ride?" He says, "Yes, absolutely." So he walks over, he opens the car door for her, helps her get inside, and he notices that she's a very young woman, and she's wearing this beautiful white ballroom dress. So as he's giving her the ride home, he says, "Well, hey, what were you doing in this tunnel so late at night? Like, it's dangerous. It's kind of a bad night for you to be out here this late." And she says, "Well, I was at a dance with my date, and we had a little bit of a fight, and I told him to just drop me off. I didn't want to be in the car with him anymore, so he did that, and I've been waiting for someone to pick me up and give me a ride." So the man kind of tries to continue the conversation, but the woman just would not respond. She would not say anything else after that. So they get up to the Highlands, and finally she says, "Take a left. My house is the 3rd one on the right." So he takes a left and stops at the 3rd house on the right, which is a house with no lights on. So he gets out of the car to go open the door for her, and when he gets over to her door, she's completely gone. He looks around his car, he looks in the back seat, cannot find this woman, and he thinks, okay, well maybe she just kind of bolted out of the door and went up to the house. So she wants to make sure that she got inside, so he goes up to the house and rings the doorbell, and nobody answers. So he rings the doorbell again, and finally a light comes on inside the house, and this older woman opens the door. So an old woman opens the door, and the man says, hey, I picked up a woman who said that she lives here and she needed a ride home. Did she come inside? And the woman says, well, where did you find her? And he says, well, I found her at the end of the tunnel that goes underneath the railroad tracks. And the woman's face just goes sad, and she says, oh, my daughter passed away in a car accident on that tunnel 15 years ago. Every year on the anniversary of her death, she gets a ride from someone trying to get home. And finally, our last story is of a young girl who has a doll collection. So a young girl absolutely loves dolls. She has a huge collection of dolls, and she went to a toy store just a couple blocks away from the apartment that her and her dad live in. As she's walking around the store, she looks behind the front counter and sees this beautiful old antique doll. And she asks the old man behind the desk and says, hey, how much is that doll? And the old man says, oh, I'm sorry, but this doll isn't for sale. And the little girl says, well, I want it. How much is it? And the old man he gets a little irritated, and he says, hey, look, I said this doll isn't for sale. The little girl says, well, why isn't it for sale? I want it. And the old man says, well, it's because the doll is cursed. And she's like, well, I don't care about a curse. I want the doll. And the old man says, fine. You know what? I don't care. Take the doll. I'm not even going to charge you for it. But if something bad happens to you, I don't want to be held responsible for it. So the little girl gets all happy and giddy, and so she grabs the doll and she skips all the way home. She walks into the lobby of her apartment, and it is completely deserted. Not a single soul in this apartment. So she kind of walks over to the elevator. She presses the button and waits for it. The elevator doors open, so she gets on the elevator. When the doors close, the elevator does not move. She gets a little bit worried, so she waits a little bit longer. The elevator still doesn't move. And she thinks, oh no, is this the curse of the doll? And just then she feels the doll start to move in her arms. She looks down to see the doll's head turn to look at her. Its eyes blink. She is terrified. She tries to scream, but no sound will come out of her mouth. Just then, the doll's mouth opens and it says, press the up button, dumbass. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed these stories. If you did, please share this video with your friends. I'm sure they could use a little bit of Halloween cheer in their life. But thanks for watching the video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel while you're at it. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you later.